A nightmare travel situation causes major changes to this past Friday's edition of SmackDown, specifically the John Cena segment, which revealed he would be teaming with Kevin Owens to face Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns on the December 30 episode of SmackDown. Cody Rhodes is getting closer and closer to a WWE return. What is his storyline plans going to be when he does indeed make his return to the ring? Is Road Dogg now working as a producer for WWE? He did on SmackDown on Friday. A major match has been announced for Monday's edition of Monday Night Raw. Quincy Elliott, the NXT star, gives an update on his health, and Mustafa Ali reveals the heartwarming reason he wrestled on SmackDown's tapings on Friday. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of WWE. We've got to start off talking about one of the biggest stories this week, certainly, is the announcement, of the return to the ring for John Cena before this year rounds out, breaking that streak, ensuring the streak will continue, ensuring that John Cena will have wrestled a match for WWE in every calendar year since 2001, even prior making his WWE main roster debut in 2002, even in developmental 2001, he was wrestling matches for WWE, and that's been the case for 20 years, and people were worried because he hasn't wrestled a match this year that the streak would be broken, but it is going to be intact because, of course, it was announced SmackDown on Friday that he'll be teaming with Kevin Owens to face off against the undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn on the December 30 episode of SmackDown from Tampa, Florida. But there were major changes to this show, and there were major changes to the segment. The way the segment planned out, with Cena appearing on the Titantron announcing he was going to be KO's partner, wasn't actually the original planned way for the segment to take place. There were major changes made to the December 16 episode of SmackDown this week. Of course, as I mentioned, the show went off the air with an in-ring segment featuring the Bloodline being interrupted by a John Cena video on the Titantron. Cena made the announcement that he would be the mystery tag team partner for Kevin Owens on the December 30 episode of the show on Fox. Cena will team with Owens to take on the team of Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. While the match was made official, we never actually saw Kevin Owens appear on SmackDown, with Roman instead calling Adam Pearce in to make the match official. However, as per Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Kevin Owens was actually originally intended to feature on the show this week, as well as the tapings for the December 23rd episode, which took place after the show on Friday aired on Fox. Now, Owens ultimately couldn't actually make the show due to what WWE have said was a, quote, nightmare travel situation. Due to this, Owens ended up being written out of the shows, with major production and writing changes being made to adjust accordingly. Original plans called for Owens to go face-to-face with the Bloodline, and from there he would introduce the video of John Cena, which instead just cut off the Bloodline as they were talking. WWE is reportedly hoping to make the December 30 episode of SmackDown must-see, with Cena set to wrestle his first match of 2022 during the show. And to be honest, that all makes a lot of sense, because when you go back and watch it, sometimes when you're trying to look at things in pro wrestling, you go, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Why doesn't that make a lot of sense? Sometimes it's just bad writing. Sometimes it's because writers or WWE or AEW or whatever pro wrestling company it is didn't think that far ahead to think about how they were going to end something. So once they have to get to an ending, the ending doesn't make a lot of sense. And you go, oh, that's a bit weird. A bit like the Dexter Lumis, Johnny Gargano thing, where the ending kind of makes a bit of sense, but you go, but that's a bit weird. Was that really what their plan was from the start? I don't know. And the way that it kind of happened on SmackDown on Friday, with Roman Reigns sitting in his dressing room with Paul Heyman, and he goes, "Cool, Pearce," and then Pearce, Adam Pearce comes in, or they set a match, which is that mixed tag team match, that tag team match for the December 30 episode of SmackDown. You go, okay, that was a bit heavy-handed. That could have been a bit more nuanced. And then certainly the main event segment, with Sami Zayn and the Bloodline and Roman Reigns in the ring, and then just Cena just appearing randomly on the screen, felt a little bit, and then that was a bit strange. And again, you go, well, now that makes sense, because Kevin Owens interrupting them and then saying, oh, we've got to have a match, and here's my tag team partner, that would have been a bigger moment. That would have felt bigger and better, but look, circumstances happen, and I'm sure Kevin Owens was really frustrated because, of course, why wouldn't you be? That's a big moment, introducing John Cena, crowd going crazy. You want to be part of that moment, but sometimes that travel situations happen, life happens, and ultimately it doesn't really matter because what really matters is getting the match in the ring, right? You know, sometimes you can have an ideal build up to it and an ideal moment, and certainly as a moment, people are talking about it anyway. John Cena appearing, interrupting the bloodline, John Cena wrestling. People are talking about it. Would people be talking about it just a little bit more in terms of what a great moment it would have been? Sure. Of course they would be. But in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. What matters is that Kevin Owens and John Cena are there on the 30th, facing Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn inside the ring on Fox, and there won't be any travel situations for that, certainly, and that won't be a problem. So, again, it's just one of those things whereby they had to make do and make changes on the fly, and they did just that. As I mentioned before, I think that the December 30 episode of SmackDown, you have to think just how big that is. Think about it. You've got Roman Reigns wrestling on SmackDown for the first time since the summer, that's when he defended the undisputed Universal Championship against Riddle, I believe. That's the first time he's wrestled since then. John Cena, it's the first time he's wrestling on television since facing off against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam in 2021. It's his first match of the year, so that's massive. On network television, on free television, the day before New Year's Eve, a period of time which everyone should be at home, would be at home over the holiday period. They're going to be hoping for a massive, massive audience and people tuning in. And that's why I feel like that isn't going to be the only angle on the show. My feeling is that, of course, Kevin Owens and John Cena win this match. And if they win the match, it's by pinning Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn eats the loss for the Bloodline. After the match, you see Roman Reigns and the Bloodline in the ring. They're frustrated. They beat the hell out of Sami Zayn. They destroy Sami Zayn. They kick him out of the Bloodline. Everyone hits their finishers. Everyone attacks him. Sami Zayn, stretch job. We don't see him until the build-up to the Elimination Chamber Premium Live event. And that attack on Sami Zayn is the catalyst for Kevin Owens getting the Undisputed Universal Championship match against Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. That clearly is the plan. And then maybe Zayn comes back at the Rumble or something like that. And then it's announced it's going to be Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn, Elimination Chamber in Montreal. The event's already sold out, by the way, because everyone kind of knows that's where they're going. I think that not only on the December 30 episode of SmackDown are we going to see Cena and Reigns wrestle, we're also going to see Sami Zayn get kicked out of the Bloodline. That's my prediction. I don't know if that's the case. That's not a scoop. That's me kind of trying to see where things are going. So you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Is that what's going to happen on the December 30 episode of SmackDown? Let me know your thoughts. Cody Rhodes is on his way back to WWE, of course, returning after suffering that injury. And it would appear he's going to be resuming his long-running feud with Seth freaking Rollins, despite Rollins currently being a babyface. Cody Rhodes is expected to lock up with an old nemesis once he's back from his injury. Rhodes returned to WWE in April of this year at WrestleMania 38 Night 1, mere weeks after announcing his departure from All Elite Wrestling in February. The former three-time AEW TNT champion has been out of action since June after suffering a torn pectoral tendon just hours before the Hell in a Cell Premium Live event. Despite his torn pectoral muscle, Rhodes fought through the pain barrier to defeat Seth Rollins inside the barbaric Hell in a Cell structure in one of the matches of the year, certainly one of the most memorable moments of the year. This victory marked the American Nightmare's third Premium Live event victory over Rollins in consecutive months after defeating Rollins at WrestleMania and WrestleMania Backlash respectively. During this week's edition of a Wrestling Observer radio show, Dave Meltzer reported that there are plans for Rollins and Rhodes to continue their feud and there will be, quote, more talk about the two soon. It's unclear how this is going to affect Rollins' current feud with US champion Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley, or if it's going to result in him turning heel again. We'll have to wait and see. When the injury happened, WWE announced that Rhodes would miss 9 months. This would put his return in March of next year. However, the general feeling is that he is going to be back by the Royal Rumble. WWE may want fans to believe that Rhodes won't be back until March, but nobody's buying this claim. Instead, Rhodes is expected to return next month at the Royal Rumble, and he is one of, if not the favourite, to win the Men's Royal Rumble match. Upon his return to WWE, Rhodes told fans on the post-WrestleMania episode of Monday Night Raw that he returned to the company to become the WWE Champion, something that could be achieved by winning the Rumble match, setting up a future date, possibly with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Certainly, it's one of the big predictions for one of the WrestleMania main events next year. As far as the American Nightmare versus Rollins, it makes sense because of how it ended, obviously. Look, Rhodes got injured. He won the Hell in the Cell match, but what was the angle the following night on Raw? It was Rollins attacking Rhodes with the sledgehammer, and that's how he got written off the TV. Now, obviously, I know a lot's changed there. I mean, on and off screen, a lot's changed there. Rollins is now a babyface, but at the same time, when Cody Rhodes was written off television, Vince McMahon was still running the show. I don't think that, Cody Rhodes' push or anything like that's going to change because Triple H is in charge, far from it. So Cody Rhodes is going to come back. He's still going to be booked and treated like a top star. He's getting paid like a top star as well. His contract is very, very, very convoluted. So I have no doubts that Rhodes is going to come back and he's going to be pushed to the moon, certainly. And he's going to go after the WWE Championship. And I think that it's probably a given at some point. I don't know when it will be, but at some point in 2023, Cody Rhodes will be the WWE Champion on Monday Night Raw. The belts will be split at some point in 2023. Universal Championship on SmackDown, WWE Championship on Raw, and the general feeling is that Rhodes, he's going to win that title. He's going to get what he wanted, what he came back to WWE for. He's going to be the face of Monday Night Raw, certainly. He's going to be the WWE Champion. That's going to be what they're doing. So I think that's a given. As far as how they do the Rollins feud, I don't know. I mean, it's a really good question. I don't know how they do this Rollins feud, unless Rollins will just have to turn heel again, I suppose. And I guess the positive is that Rollins switched to a babyface. Nothing has changed in his character, and this is what I always say about good heels when they turn babyface. Don't change the character. Change the opponent. Change the target, change the object in which they're going after. In this case, it was Austin Theory. Rollins' persona hasn't changed. Rollins is still, this narcissist. Rollins is still arrogant. Rollins is still this guy that talks down to people and thinks he's better than people and thinks he's one or two steps ahead of everyone. So if Cody Rhodes comes back, if Cody Rhodes is his opponent, then Seth Rollins is a heel. If Austin Theory is his opponent, he's a babyface. Seth Rollins' character has almost become somewhat of a chameleon. It's who he's facing determines if he's a heel or a babyface. So I don't think it's that deep in terms of, there's going to have to be major changes to Rollins' character. I don't see that. I think the most likely scenario is Rhodes returns at the Rumble. He wins the Rumble match, last eliminating Seth Rollins. They have a match at Elimination Chamber. Rhodes wins, and then Rhodes goes on to WrestleMania to face Roman Reigns for the championship. That feels like that's the most likely chronology of events, and we'll have to wait and see if that is indeed the case. Road Dogg. What is Road Dogg's role at this point in WWE? Well, he took over that role for Jeff Jarrett, didn't he, as the live event senior vice president of live events, but he actually was working as a producer this week on SmackDown. So a top WWE backstage name might now actually also be working as a producer for the company. WWE Hall of Famer Road Dogg was re-signed to the company back in August as the senior vice president of live events, making him a very prominent backstage figure in the company. As I mentioned, this was replacing Jeff Jarrett, who's now in AEW in a similar kind of role. Now, though, it appears that Road Dogg may have put on an extra hat in his WWE role, that of a producer. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select provided a weekly rundown of the producers for this week's SmackDown show. And interestingly, Road Dogg was listed as the producer for the segment between LA Knight and Bray Wyatt on the December 16 episode of The Blue Brand, despite not being listed as a producer before. The full list of producers for the show was as followed. The tag title match of Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox versus Damage Control. That was P.T. Williams. The LA Knight Bray Wyatt segment was, as I mentioned, Road Dogg. The Intercontinental Championship match between Ricochet and Gunther, which was the match of the show. That was produced by Jamie Noble. Hit Row versus Legado del Fantasma versus the Viking Raiders was produced by Adam Pearce, but people weren't talking about producers, they were talking about Top Dollar's Dive. And the Bloodline John Cena segment was produced by Jason Jordan. As for what this means for Road Dogg, I don't know. And it's certainly fascinating, isn't it, that one of maybe the more polarizing segments on the show, which was the Uncle Howdy reveal, was produced by a very polarizing person. Look, Road Dogg was a producer for Triple H during the NXT run, and it might just be a case of we have heard a lot of reports and stories about producers feeling overworked and feeling a need for more producers to come in, and maybe in lieu of those people coming in, or in lieu of not having extra producers put in, Road Dogg will be like, well, I'll help produce certain TV shows. Maybe that's the case. Maybe it's a case of the producers asking for more help, and Road Dogg is going to be that help. I'm not sure. Road Dogg's a strange one because, as I mentioned, there was a period of time in WWE where he was one of the right-hand men to Vince McMahon. 2017, he was the head writer of SmackDown, and it just so happened during that year that he was the head writer of SmackDown, it was god-awful. That's the year we had, like, Jinder Mahal Punjabi prison stuff with the great Khali giving him the assist for the victory. That's Road Dogg. So I don't know if maybe the polarizing aspects of that segment of LA Knight and Bray Wyatt was because of Road Dogg. I don't know. I think it's just the Bray Wyatt stuff. Like people either like it or they really don't, and I think that's fun. I think that's good. But it just, I don't know what Road Dogg does in WWE anymore. There's been a major match announced for this coming Monday's edition of Raw. Really, really big match. A major match has been announced for the December 19 episode of Monday Night Raw from Des Moines, Iowa. Former Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch, of course, made her return to the company in terms of in-ring at Survivor Series War Games, being revealed as the final member of Bianca Belair's team in the titular match the day before on SmackDown. Since then, Becky Lynch and Bayley have been locked in a bitter rivalry since that show, with Bayley taking out Io Sky and Dakota Kai ahead of Bayley's match with Alexa Bliss on this past week's show. Now WWE has announced that Becky and Bayley will face off in a singles match on next week's show. This will be Becky's first singles match since her Raw Women's Championship match with Bianca Belair at SummerSlam. The match joins the Double or Nothing winner takes all ladder match between The Miz and Dexter Lumis on the show as well. I wouldn't be shocked if this match doesn't fully happen, if that makes sense. They might actually kind of be a bit of a swerve here and maybe we get a tag team match or something like that. Or it's just a case of they're going to have the match and it's going to escalate. They've got to do something to try and pop some ratings before we get into Royal Rumble season. This is the problem, isn't it? Is that particularly for Raw, not so much for SmackDown, because this week's episode was enjoyable and they've got stuff going on there with the Bloodline and now John Cena coming back, etc. But certainly Raw the last few weeks, it's just felt like, and again, this is the problem of this time of year with WWE television. Sometimes you just feel like they're waiting for it to get to the new year, and they're waiting for it to get to January so they can focus on building towards the Rumble. And this period of time, they have to put on shows, but there's nothing that really happens in the shows. So the ratings kind of reflect that. So they've got to put on some big matches. So they're going to put on Becky Lynch and Bayley to try and, I guess, spike some numbers and some interest in the show. We have an update on NXT Superstar Quincy Elliott. NXT Superstar Elliott took to Twitter on Saturday evening to make a big announcement about his health. He revealed that he's medically cleared to wrestle, saying, quote, "Medically cleared, and I'm the baddest bitchmas spirit. See you tonight. Hashtag NXT Tampa," tweeted Elliott. He later tweeted a clip of himself at last night's house show at the University Area CDC Gymnasium with the caption, "Uncle Taker, back like I never left." He ended up losing his return match to Scripps. Oh, Scripps, remember that. The NXT rookie didn't reveal what kind of injury had him sidelined since late October. His last in-ring match was in the October 19 episode of NXT where he defeated Zion Quinn. The match was to see who was going to be Shotzi's co-host at NXT Halloween Havoc. His last NXT appearance was on October 25. The Super Diva made his WWE debut back in March against Joe Gacy on NXT Level Up. He later made his NXT TV debut on September 13, where he defeated Sean Gallagher in under 2 minutes. WWE first started to promote his debut on August 16 during the NXT Heatwave special. Even before making his official WWE debut, the promotion had trademarked his in-ring name with the USPTO on November 30. So Quincy Elliott is back, and I guess we're going to see more of him on NXT television soon. Finally, Mustafa Ali, this is a really nice story to end on today, wrestled on SmackDown, or at the SmackDown tapings, even though he's a Raw star. Of course, WWE taped 2 episodes of SmackDown on Friday in Chicago, Illinois. The first show was live on Fox, along with a taped episode that is set to air next Friday, December 23rd. The dark match before the taping saw Maximum Male model Mansoor lose to hometown hero Mustafa Ali. Ali was and still is a member of the Raw roster, but he was brought in for last Friday's episode of SmackDown tapings for a very heartwarming reason. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select notes that Ali wrestled on the tapings due to his family being in attendance for the show, allowing his wife, a young daughter, to watch him do his thing before the show. Ali shared photos of all three of them before the show, including his daughter in the SmackDown ring. Ali also recently wrestled on SmackDown as a participant in the SmackDown World Cup, losing to Ricochet, who of course won the whole thing in the first round. So there you go, a heartwarming story around this festive period. But there you go, guys. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Let me know your thoughts on today's WWE news stories in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.